Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you live every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines for you guys and to provide some actual insight into how people can operate and survive in any freight market out there. Because regardless of what the national averages are and their tender rejection reports are, freight is still moving, and we have to find solutions for our customers no matter what. As you guys can see, I'm back in my studio there. I was out in Indianapolis over the weekend, and I got to give a shout out to the company that hosted me out there, Cox Automotive Fleet Services, class act organization from top down. Their Total Technician event that they were hosting out there had their top 30 technicians in their company out of 1,400 competing against each other head-to-head in 3 different categories. They had their heavy-duty mechanics, their technicians, their light, medium duty, and then their trailer techs all out there competing. And it was fantastic to see overall. And we're going to be, you'll see a little bit more content coming out here in the coming months about all of that stuff. Because again, my experience is on the truckload side of things, you guys, and I'm always learning and I'm always looking for different angles in this industry to bring that information for all of you to utilize and apply and see meaningful difference in your businesses and lives. I got a very, very special guest for you guys today. I'm really looking forward to speaking to this gentleman. He's been a supporter of the show here. And, we're here to talk about how we can help each other out, because that's the whole point, you guys, of the Freight Coach Network. Not only are we going to be the top media source in this industry within 12 months, but the network aspect of this isn't just a media wing. It's building up a network of individuals who are doing the right thing in this industry, and us collectively coming together to build a platform that everybody can survive on. Let me see here. But before we do all of that, as you can see, my friends over at VHub, they keep the neon light on behind me here every single day. They're the ones who make this show possible. Asset utilization, the usage of trailers. Everybody needs it in this industry. It doesn't matter if you are a carrier. It doesn't matter if you're a broker. Especially if you're a broker, you need to create a drop trailer pool at your customer's facility. VHub has a solution for you right now with what they have. As always, you guys, the best part about all of this, you get paid to do it. So right now over in Glade Spring, Virginia, going over to just outside of Tacoma, Washington, and in Orting, Washington, you get paid $15.50 to reposition this trailer. They have the exact same one available over in Paragould, Arkansas, just outside of Little Rock, going to Orting, Washington, just outside of Tacoma, $15.50 to do that. And then they also have San Diego, or San Diego, as Ron Burgundy likes to call it, going over to Dallas, Texas. And then they also just have some new ones brought up going down to Houston, Texas. And as you can see, you get paid $600 to do this, you guys. So again, hit them up, vhubapp.com. Create that drop trailer pool. There's plenty of freight that's out there that's moving right now, you guys, and you need to think of some creative solutions. My man Xavier Campos, he'll be in the audience as well, and so is my friend Stacy Steen. And the comments are already blowing up here. And Gunner, good morning, sir. Lewis, good morning, bro. Good to see you out there, man. Keep moving freight. Drew Driscoll, good morning. Cody Miller, you're right. Good fucking morning to you too, sir. See, that's how we keep it here. Gunner, we're a fan of the First Amendment over here, and we ain't changing for shit. Sonny Sharma, good morning, brother. And then, yeah, man, let's go. I got my man, Steven Mason here, and he is a hotshot driver. He's got a 40-foot hotshot, you guys. He's out in Tampa, Florida. He's got ramps and everything on it, and he's actually waiting to get offloaded, you guys. So the drivers that I speak with are active. Lewis, when he was on my podcast, man, he was literally getting offloaded too. So this is the way I like to roll, Steven. So thanks for joining me today, man.
Absolutely, man. Good morning, brother. I'm grateful to be here.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to have you come on and, talk about what you're experiencing out there. Because again, I'm not a driver. I'm not going to position myself as somebody who's been out there on the road. Like, yeah, my dad drove. I've been in the industry for a very long time, but you're a business owner who just started. So before, I don't want to tell your story for you. I'd like you to tell your story. How did you get your start in the industry, man? And when did you take the leap and jump in and drive for yourself?
Okay, well, I started in the industry in 2007, driving for Swift. That was a very unique experience in itself. And then I got my bachelor's degree, so I kind of went over to the corporate side of things. But my uncle, he also started as a driver, so he stayed a driver. And I moved up the corporate ladder, and I was just tired of filling another person's pockets at the end of the day. I believe everyone should have their own business and thrive in that way. That's just my personal opinion. So in March, I finally talked my uncle into opening up the business together. So we started our trucking company with 2 hot shots called No BS Express, based out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I secured a relationship out there with a direct shipper hauling steel, who he still hauls for. And then I came back here to Florida, Tampa, Florida to be exact. And I'm trying to do the same thing, but I'm just running into hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. And I was trying to put my information out there and my strategy to gain some insight, hopefully, and to build a network.
No, and that's what we're doing. As you guys can tell, Steven's on the he's waiting to get offloaded right now. And
Loaded.
He's waiting to get loaded out
Yes,
now. And yeah, man. So I mean, here he is. He's out here. Him and his uncle, they've been out on their own now for the past 4 months doing their own thing. Or he's been out, since March and everything. And that's what it's all about, you guys, because again, we got to provide solutions for each other and help and work with each other in all ways possible. And trust me, this pie is big enough for us to all get fat and happy off of in this industry. So like, what are you like, let me see here. We got to go in. We're at day 81 of the show. This is our 81st live show that we've done already, man. And we got, awesome. Yeah, dude. But it's also that comes along with it is we're at day 81 of the Freight Coach tally of there being a truck parking issue as well as a facilities issue that we see out there. So like, and that's actually one of the articles we'll be talking about today. But like, are you seeing that out there, man, where you're showing up at places and they're not allowing you to use a restroom or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a struggle. There's plenty of places that I'm going to, especially dealing with the brokers, and nothing against brokers, but they don't check on that or warn you. Like when you get to the shipper, you're not going to be able to use the facilities. So when I get there, I kind of figure out what I have to do. And if I do need to use the restroom, I ask if it's okay if I leave the premises and come back. But we shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to drop our trailer, get loaded, and then come back. It is still a very, very big problem, especially truck parking. It's a major issue.
Yeah. So where are you running right now? Because I mean, especially with you being in a hot shot, man, are you doing overnight runs? Are you staying local Florida? And I mean, if you are out there, man, are you just crashing in hotels and stuff?
No, I stay local to Florida. Mainly I'm home every night. I'm pretty savvy with the load board. I was a broker for a little while, so I kind of pre-schedule myself a little bit. But if I do have to stay overnight, I just sleep in my truck, man.
You just sleep, just lay across the front seat there?
Yeah, lay across the front seat. It's part of starting the business. I got to do what I got to do.
I get it, man. I mean, and again, these are the stories that need to be out there, the realities of what these drivers do face, because it's not all sunshine and everything else. And, this is a guy who's out there just trying to support his family and do his thing. And I mean, that's the thing, man, when you're starting your own business, like there is no fucking playbook to this stuff, you guys. And that's like what I want to reiterate all the time is I'm still learning every single day. I don't have anything figured out. The only thing I have figured out is that I got to show up and solve shit every fucking day. That's the only thing that I have figured out. Otherwise, there's no perfect playbook to this. And again, it's like there are solutions out there. And I want people to hear that, because the next time you're out there talking shit to a driver, that guy literally might be sleeping in the cab of his fucking F450 or something like that, hauling your customers' freight. So think about that. And again, I'm not immune to this stuff, you guys. I acted like that in my career too. I'm never going to sit up here and try and put myself on some sort of pedestal that I've never done any of that bullshit, but again, it's like collectively we got to change and move forward. And, like another thing that I put out every single day is, man, is diesel being what it is right now. It's the EIA.gov, where I pulled this information from, you guys, they'll release their new pricing here. I know it's, gone down a little bit, no cause for celebration or anything like that, but it was still at $5.26 a gallon. And I mean, how have you gone about pricing out your loads based on the increase in fuel that you've seen out there? Because I know you probably hear this line a lot. Oh, come on, man, you're not a hot shot, or you're not a full trucker. You don't need that fucking high of a price, right? I'm assuming you hear that from brokers.
Oh, absolutely. I hear it all the time. But I'm a numbers guy, so I have my spreadsheets. I narrowed it down to what my cost per mile is. And I think that's where a lot of people fail, is they don't critique those numbers. So I know where my mark is. I don't even have to discuss that with the broker or the shipper. I know right away if I see the load and it's paying $2.25 a mile, if that's my mark, that I take it. I automatically add the fuel surcharge in there. So I don't have nothing to worry about as far as my company goes. I do own my truck and trailer, so that is a huge benefit as opposed to another person that, comes in financing. But one of the hardest things that I'm experiencing right now is securing freight from a direct shipper. I was a broker for a little while, so I obviously did the cold calling. I have my spreadsheet. I have literally tabs down at the bottom of lumber companies, you name it, PVC companies, steel companies, and I just go down the list. Literally, as I'm driving, I have my laptop over here to the side opened up, kind of like a police officer. And I'm going down and cold calling and trying to create relationships. And then I'll follow up in person with my business card and try to secure some type of relationship and earn their business. But it's very hard out here starting out. If you don't have a network, it's really hard.
And that's what you're finding, right? Is you're out there, you're trying to build your network and get in touch. Because, I mean, as you know, man, if you being a broker, it's a numbers game. And
Absolutely.
it's, the more people that you get in front of it. But I mean, to me, it's like you have the right approach. Like if you're out there, you're doing your cold calling, you're showing up with your business card and everything else, and you're setting yourself up that way. I mean, it's just that groundwork coming, man. Because like I almost think of it like this: is it's like if a shipper gives you access to their freight on the very first point of contact with them, what's wrong with it? Like it's never that easy, So like with what you're out there with right now, so you got a 40-foot hot shot. Are there any commodities in particular you prefer to haul? Have you narrowed it down to that right now? Like, hey, you got
absolutely.
Niche. So what's your niche freight type, man? What do you like to haul?
So architectural steel, basically where a company fabricates stairs or something like that type of material, any type of aluminum or PVC pipe, that's what I kind of tailor towards, or lumber would be the last. But of course, I take anything and everything off the load board when I need to survive as a company, but architectural steel.
So from your perspective, like you invested in, you got chains, straps, you do the whole nine, right? Like because you got a 40-foot hot shot with ramps, correct?
Yes, sir. Mega ramps. I have everything that's needed to secure a load, whether it's chains, straps, tarps, you name it. I am equipped with it.
Okay, perfect, man. Because that's the thing is I think that some individuals out there, when they do get started out, like they're realizing like, oh shit, I don't have this, and then they're limiting themselves from their perspective. I found, personally from the hot shot freight, like, I think like with a pipe, for example, you get those 40-foot sections of pipe. That's what you'll find. You get like 40 and 50-foot sections that you'll find out there. Yes. I've always found a ton of success in the construction equipment game, so like throwing on skid steers and small tractors and everything else on side of the hot shot, because they can, at the end of the day, you guys can move a little bit quicker than the 53-foot flatbeds or 48-foot flatbeds that you see out there. And plus, man, I mean, you can fit a couple of those on there, and that's going to. Do you haul construction equipment ever?
Oh, absolutely. I have one of those tabs that I was telling you about in my spreadsheet. It's construction equipment. So I've called like literally almost every Hertz and United Rentals in the state of Florida. And I've gained some treadway. I filled out some information, talked to some important people, but I just haven't been given that opportunity yet. And I was wondering if it's my strategy. I don't know. I'm just trying diligently each and every day at home. When I get home at night, I create a whole new list of about 25 to 30 numbers. But construction equipment is definitely beneficial. The only thing is we can only haul, being a hot shot, is 16,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And I do have my CDL. You have a lot of other people out here that don't have their CDL, so their weight limits are very restricted. I believe it's 10,000 and under, but I can haul pretty much everything and anything as long as it's under 16,000 pounds.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's what a lot of it is, though, man, is it's like you can carry your boom lifts and everything else that come up there, those little 2-man lifts, hydraulic jacks and everything. Like, dude, those are all under 5,000-6,000 pounds. So, and I know that that's one of those things is like putting together a couple of multi-partials and everything else and kind of building out your trailer. But I think so, like, what's the biggest thing you're kind of getting hung up on in the sales process, man? Like, what do you think? Like, explain that to me. Where do you think your big hang up is? At what point?
My biggest hang up, I would say, is I get the warm lead, I get the email, I get the contact name, I send over the information, I conducted a whole proposal, but then that is where I just hit a roadblock. I don't know where to go from there. So I, in turn, go in person. I show up with my business card. I try, obviously I dress a little different than I am right now, but I dress presentable, and I approach them as a business owner, and then basically offer them a discounted rate just to get in the door to earn their business. And I really don't know what else to do. I was seeking some type of advice, either from you or the audience, on what I should do moving forward. I think maybe I might have chosen the wrong business model, being a hot shot in a trailer, because obviously there's more freight with a semi and a flatbed, and that's what I'm trying to earn the money to purchase and get out of the hot shot and put a driver in it. But I'm just, my hands are up in the air. I kind of don't know what to do.
Yeah. I think there's enough freight in the hot shot world for you, man, to where you don't necessarily need to abandon that. I think there's a ton of opportunity that's out there. For me personally, I think that as you're like research, like when you're speaking to your prospects and stuff like that, man, like you got to think of like a Hertz rental or like one of those large rental companies. They're transferring shit between their facilities all the time. That's Absolutely. Where you're going to get into the door. And then it's also, I would position it on customer job site, opportunities that they have as well, because a lot of like the thing is they don't need that all the time, because like that's really all I did from a broker's perspective for the last 4 years is I only did like heavy equipment and stuff, but it only went between their facility. Like very rarely did I go out to one of their customers' job sites, because they like to load it onto their trucks and have their trucks delivering it out to their customers and everything. So I think for me, man, it's like building out your matrix. I would just go in there and talk to them about specific lanes. Like, where do you want to run? Like, if because obviously you can, I had no idea how small the state of Florida was across until I was out there. It's only like 130 miles across.
Yeah, it's not that.
So it's like, I would just go out there and talk to them about running in between that, man. You got to find something from Tampa down to Fort Myers, hell, even down to Miami and stuff like that, up to Jacksonville. I would just have your matrix of availability that you're wanting to do. But when you're prospecting companies, man, find out if they have those in that area. Find out where all of their facilities are every single one of your prospects' facilities are when you're calling them, and talk to them about those intercompany transfers that you're running between those two places, because they're moving them. Somebody's moving them.
Yes, Julie. No, I've done it. You're right. That's why I created a tab specifically for Hertz. I think there's another one. Was it SunTrust, Suncoast? I can't think of it at the top of my head. There you go. So I'm gonna call them. But what I've noticed a lot here in Florida is the ports. So I think I'm gonna get my TWIC card and try to go that route. But I just don't know how to get in with the businesses that are actually shipping the freight from the ports. I literally went online and Googled, all the contact people for the ports directly, but they replied with, we are just in control of port operations, not necessarily the movement of freight. So I'm trying to get in the door there. I just have no clue what I'm doing. So I'm trying to network and get my name out there. And I always talk to people at the truck stops and fellow drivers, and some of them, are not very happy people. They don't really want to communicate. They want to get on the road and go. But I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I just took down some notes of what you just said, and I'm definitely going to try that approach.
No, definitely. I'm going to get caught up in some comments here, because I think there's some advice out there for you. Quan, what's up, brother? He's out of Vegas. Lewis, man, he's the guy who's on my podcast. All he said is fail forward with that. Henry Sheldon, he's based out of Miami. Man, you should. He's got a TMS company. He might be able to see what's out there, and he's a good guy to know in the state of Florida for sure. He's like, you got to do what you got to do. Riley Dietrich, good morning. Let me see. Cody Miller, if you're not learning the industry, let's see. Vitali, having asset-based companies on its roster is tough for national shippers because they generally only run specific lanes, geographical areas, or equipment, whereas brokers have access to a lot more variety. And then he also, the more asset-based carriers on a roster, the more bandwidth it takes to manage. So I can see how it could be challenging to secure direct shipments for smaller carriers. And he's speaking from experience. Don't blow up his DMs, you guys. Vitali is a shipper. So yeah, just don't, please, for the love of God, you guys don't blow up his DMs. You can't save him 20%. Don't send him the same generic bullshit you guys all do. Let's see, Cody Miller. Cody, if you're out there, if you love stacking these partials, do you have anything out there for them? Let me see. Beyond prospecting, specialized brokers that focus on your niche instead of shippers. You have no choice but to target local shippers. His earlier points apply. If it's difficult for me to justify onboarding a carrier with a handful of trucks in a very specific lane, geographical area, rather than a national carrier broker, unfortunate reality. And then let me see. Funds are in the follow-up. And that's the thing, man, is it, to me, Steven, it's going to be all in the follow-up at this point. If you're, my big thing is, man, and this is something that I say all the time, man, the power is in the follow-up. Like my thing is it's like, you got to think, there's every broker and every carrier that's in the comments right now are all going after prospects, but it's
Absolutely.
like, how do you separate yourself from the competition? I mean, the stats are out there, man. The power is in the follow-up. Like to me, it's like, dude, some of the largest shippers that I brought on in my career were 6 to 8 months of prospecting. It was 6 to 8 months of building up that relationship with them to give me an opportunity to start moving their freight for them. And it takes a long time to get out there. But I think that from where you are, man, you're taking the right approach. Like I've been listening to everything you've been saying. There's nothing that you're doing right now that I would be like, I wouldn't do that, because you are out there. You're showing up with your business card. You're meeting in person and everything else. And that pays off with a lot of people. Is it going to work for everybody? It's not going to work for everybody. But I think the overwhelming majority of people will find something for you, and it's that approach of just being visible, shit, man. I would literally show up at places 3 or 4 times before I could finally get in the door and like literally physically get in the door to talk to somebody out there, man. But I think like with where you are right now, like if you're ever, downtime or whatever, waiting to get loaded or something like that, man, I'm looking out, I'm just fucking walking around and seeing who's out there, what other shippers are in your area. And I would just start bringing a stack of business cards. I would dedicate 2 days a week, 3 days a week for where you're out there, man. And as soon as you get loaded up or you're offloaded for the day, just going off and dropping off your information everywhere. I would do that literally every single day. Chris Westling, he's literally in the process of about to get loaded. Can you send Stephen Mason a DM on LinkedIn out there? Or else, Stephen, how can anybody call you? What's your contact information? Because him and then Cody Miller said he'll add you to his list of carriers out there for Florida, and he handles more central southern states for Hotshot, is what he's saying.
The best way to get a hold of me is definitely send me a message on LinkedIn. I monitor it all the time. That is my application or platform, I guess, of choice to network. And then we can just go from there. I do have a bunch of business cards with me, and I try that approach. As soon as I'm done unloading today in Orlando, I'm literally going to go down to every little business that I see that actually, does have hotshot freight and pass out my cards, man. But I do understand what you're saying. As a broker, it took me 3 to 4 months just to secure freight that I can move consistently. And I was actually moving cars at the time, so it's a little different. But I'm gonna keep chugging along and trying. And I appreciate all the feedback, man, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
No, definitely, man. And then, here's some other thing. But what's great about being small is you can really have that personal approach and target a handful of solid leads. He says, it sounds like you're doing it correctly. And, he also said it may sound silly, but start building up your Google reviews. No matter what kind of business, that can mean a lot for a small company. And again, man, like I'm thinking, like if there's any brokers out there that you're working with, have them leave a Google review out there on your business or something like that and get out there. And again, man, like you're always welcome to come on this show, dude, because I want to see guys like you succeed, because you're out there leveraging everything to make this work. And there's enough people in my network and in the audience alone who can help out in this approach for you, man. And another buddy of mine just texted me. He's working right now, but he texted me. He's like, hey, I saw your show. I'll put me in contact with him. So I'll put you in contact with another broker as well, who's got some hotshot freight possibly for you. So
Okay, absolutely. I haven't tried the Google approach. I don't know why. I guess just retarded. But I will
no,
definitely have them started.
But dude, that's the whole point of all this stuff, man. It's just bouncing ideas off of each other because, man, I don't know if you have kids, but I have a son, and fuck, I can tell him something 100 times, and then if you tell him the 101st time, literally the exact same fucking way, and all of a sudden it hits. You know, oh yeah, I get it now. But you know, like that.
Absolutely.
To me, dude, it's like we're entering in a time of uncertainty in this industry. Like, yeah, there's no doubt that rates are changing, but there's never a like this isn't an opportunity to quit. Like this is I think this is your opportunity to double down and really start outworking your competition, because people are going to give up, man. Like that's the unfortunate reality, is people are going to quit. But there's enough business out there for you to keep moving consistently, man. And I would just go out there, because again, it's like if I was a broker, here's what, like, let's flip the script here, man. I would be asking you this, because here's a way for you to identify if a lot of these brokers actually have freight. Because if I have consistent business from my shipper, I'm going to want to know, what days of the week are you available? What region do you want to run? What will you haul? What won't you haul? And then I'm going to ask you about what your add-ons are. Are you fully suited with PPE? Do you have chains? Do you have straps? Do you have coil racks? I'm going to be asking you more and more in-depth questions. I think if a broker's out there saying, this is where it picks, this is what it delivers, this is what it weighs, this is what it pays, I wouldn't want to work with that broker, because that's either a one-off shipment or they're just trying to get the lowest price out there. Now, is that going to be everybody? No. Please don't fucking say any of that bullshit. You guys know what I'm saying here. I just think that the brokers who are very serious about this stuff, man, they're not concerned about just using you today. They want to use a carrier like you and others every day, because that's how we grow. That's how our books of business expand, is by covering consistent freight with consistent carriers. And I know there's going to be people out there about blah, blah, blah. Don't pay attention to any of that other noise out there, man. My main focus for you is, if you know you're based out of Tampa, I would want to secure my own outbound Tampa freight direct with shippers if I were you. And then
that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
And then line up that broker, or, you know, possibly even get, you know, having your long-term approach to be fully reliant on direct customer freight that's out there. But in the meantime, I think, you know, find brokers who have Orlando back to Tampa freight and St. you know, or, you know, down to Fort Myers and Miami. I would work with them and try and build out your matrix. But again, I'm going to want to know what days of the week you're available, you know, and all of that stuff, man. Because the more in-depth questions a broker are going to ask you, I feel like the better off that potential partnership will evolve into. Because
yeah, you know, I agree. I've been asking those questions too. Like, do you move a lot of freight in this area? What type of freight do you move? And it's just your basic, simple answers. Yeah, we do, and I'll keep you in mind. I'm like, well, what kind of freight is it? How frequently is it? Is it dedicated shipments? Do you work with this customer like every week, every month, or is it just a one-off shipment? And they really can't answer that question, because I don't want to rely on the load board. That's a secondary market for me. You know, to build a sustainable business, I need to have that direct relationship with those shippers. So I definitely taken notes of everything you said. And I'm going to keep chugging along, keep trying, man. It takes grit to survive, and I promise I won't give up.
Dude, that's exactly it, man. It's like, this shit's not easy, but I think it's just that it's just showing up every fucking day, you know, like no matter what, showing up. Like you're talking about grit there, man. Like this is where I think, since business has been quote unquote easy for the last couple of years for a lot of people in the freight market, where you really haven't had to look that hard to find freight and everything, like this is what's going to separate you though, man. And I think like it's individuals like yourself and those others who aren't going to fucking quit. You know, like Lewis with Dedicated Trucking, man. Like, dude, that guy had to rebuild his engine like fucking twice, you know, in these 3 years. He maxed out his credit cards. He's fucking paid off his debt. He's done all that, and he's fought through, and he made it work. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's like, it's highlighting those stories. Like, it's easy to sit here and point out the people who failed, you know, and that's where you'll see a lot of sensationalism from other media sources out there. It's, oh, these carriers went out of business. No, fuck that. We're only highlighting the people who are going to stay in business, because we're going to help people stay in business, so you don't become a statistic of somebody who quit, who thought that I didn't know that there was anybody else out there who gave a fuck about me, you know, and gave a fuck about my business. Because that's what we like, you know. And again, I don't have all this shit figured out. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to keep showing up every fucking day. I'm going to leverage my network of individuals who can help drivers like yourself and other drivers out there stay in business, because it's going to take a collective effort to make this work, you know, and it would be a lot easier for me to sit up here and talk about how shitty everything is, because that's what most people do. Most people just want to focus on the negative because negative drives numbers. I don't give a fuck about my downloads. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. I give a fuck about seeing people succeed and stay in business and leveraging people who are smarter than me. If I don't know something, to come on and talk about it so it can help people, because that's what it's all about, man. That's
Absolutely.
what this, I feel like that's what this country was founded on. You know, that's why I proudly fly the American flag in my office, because we're a land of opportunity for everybody. We need to fucking work with each other more than not. And I'm not going to, I know the kumbaya doesn't exist. All right. I know that, but we can all do a better fucking job, in my opinion.
I agree wholeheartedly. We should all help each other succeed. It shouldn't be tit for tat and
No.
you know, a big competition. That's not what this country was founded on, in my opinion. So
no, I'm right there with you, man. And Vitaly brought up, you know, his last point here is, you know, his most modern employees, himself and under, will hit Google's review just to check out before anything else. And then just needs some stuff moved and isn't sure where to go. They'll likely hit Google. It's simple and effective for small businesses, even in logistics. So again, yeah, I think start asking all those brokers to start posting Google reviews.
duly noted.
Drew Driscoll says that's a good point. Any carriers that run reefer in and out of California on here? Yeah, man, I think we didn't get to any articles today, you guys, but at the end of the day, we'll get to articles other days. Fuck it. Like this was more important, was talking to Steven about what he's going through out there, man. Dude, you're welcome to come back on anytime, man.
Absolutely.
You come back on,
I'll give you a follow-up.
Yeah, let's do that. And hey, if you guys have any freight out there for him in Florida for a 40-foot hot shot, he's got mega ramps, he's got chains, he's got straps, he's got the whole nine. You can haul up to 16,000 pounds. He likes to stay in the state of Florida. Hit him up, you guys. Hit him up on LinkedIn. He's active on there. Me and him, we're sending DMs back and forth to each other over the last couple of weeks and everything as well. He's very active on there. Let's get people to stay in business. And then furthermore, if you are another driver, if there is any other drivers, owner operators that are out there who are in a very similar spot to Steven right now, you're looking to build this up, DM me. You have a voice on my shows. You have a place to come onto my shows and vent your frustrations, vent whatever. But the thing is we're about progress. All right. I'm not going to sit here and let anybody bitch and moan about how somebody else sucks. We got to come to a common solution. So that's it for today. You guys hit up Steven on LinkedIn. We'll be back tomorrow. The Freight Coach Morning Show. We are the top morning show in transportation, and we're going to be coming to you live every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. Thank you for everybody in the audience for chiming in, for all your support to help Steven out here. We're going to make this shit work, you guys. We are going to shatter the traditional fucking silos in this industry and get it back to the respect that this industry was founded on when my family started doing this stuff all the way back in the 1930s. That's it for today, guys. I appreciate you all so much, and we'll be talking to you soon.